Fallout is back with a bang following the success of the TV series and the, well, not so good next generation update, but nonetheless, thousands of us are flooding back into Fallout 4 because it's a very, very good game. But it can be overwhelming early on for new players. Hell, it can even be daunting for returning players who haven't dived into it for a number of years. So I've decided to create this video going over some of the silly but huge mistakes you should definitely be avoiding early on in the game. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. So first up, whilst Fallout is a very atmospheric post-apocalyptic setting to explore, it is often better to go exploring with a companion, in my opinion, whether that be Dogmeat, Codsworth, Preston, or someone else entirely. But that may vary depending on your playstyle, but you could be making a mistake either way. First up, by not going it alone, your companions will help make combat easier because it means you're not taking on enemies by yourself. And the flip side is, if you do decide to go it alone, you will definitely have to master the combat and Fallout, and what will help you in that regard is getting the Lone Wanderer perk. So if you do prefer to go it alone, for the benefits of the Lone Wanderer perk, which gives you benefits like reduced damage and increased carry weight, then you're making a mistake in not taking Dogmeat with you here, because having Dogmeat around doesn't in fact take away any of the benefits of that Lone Wanderer perk, unlike other companions. Because for whatever reason, Dogmeat isn't classed as a regular companion. I have no idea why, but we all love Dogmeat. Speaking of perks, you're making a mistake if you don't use the awareness perk for the Vault-Tec assisted targeting system, also known as VATS. What the awareness perk grants you is the ability to reveal an enemy's damage resistance and level when targeting them, so you'll be able to figure out what type of damage they're most vulnerable to. Who doesn't like a little bit of extra help in combat situations, right? And if you get the awareness perk up to rank 2 as well, it will give you an additional 5% weapon damage bonus, along with a 5% increased hit chance while using VATS, thus making combat easy for you later on in the game. Let's talk about fusion cores. They are a scarce resource in Fallout and they are essential for using the power armor, but a single one won't actually last that long, so you'll end up searching for more if you're constantly using that power armor. The mistake people make here is using up your fusion cores too early on in the game. In the early part of the game, there's only really one encounter that requires the power armor to be used, and that is when you first actually get your hands on it. You'll jump down off the top of the building into the streets of Concord, and a Deathclaw will appear, but you'll be armed with a minigun and the power armor to make it easier. Once that is done though, I'd recommend taking your power armor to the Red Rocket truck stop and storing it there for a while, because you won't need it until you venture further into the game. Also, save up some cash so you can buy new fusion cores as you explore to allow you to use the power armor more often when you're up against tougher enemies, like a Deathclaw, not a Raider. Speaking of tougher battles in Fallout 4, there are a bunch of weapons which deal some absolute serious damage, and they are often using special ammunition. But you want to make sure that you are not using these weapons and wasting your special ammo on easier enemies, like raiders and roaches and all those easier to kill ones. Take the big boy as an example, which fires miniature nukes. It's definitely one of the most fun weapons to use in the game, but the ammo for it is understandably rare. Now, if you are lucky to have one of these, along with a couple of mini nukes, you don't want to be wasting these on lower level enemies when you can just use a regular weapon. You want to be saving these for the bigger, badder enemies. Again, like Deathclaws. So, conserve your special ammunition until you actually need it. There's one character in Fallout 4 who gets a lot of stick, and that is Preston Gy. And to be fair, I can definitely see why people don't particularly like him, because it feels like all he ever does is tell you that there's a settlement somewhere that needs your help. I must admit, it is super easy to get annoyed at him for that very reason alone. But he is there for a reason. If you want to truly succeed in Fallout, it makes sense to actually listen to him from time to time. If you actually spend some time heading out to these many settlements he'll tell you about, and you lend them a hand, by the time you've got a lot of them under your influence, they'll give you access to a copious amount of resources. You can assign settlers to trade routes, meaning you can build an entire network of settlements around the wasteland. And once that is set up, you can craft basically any resource you want because you're gathering them from all over the wasteland. So, spend a bit of time rescuing or helping out those settlements. It is worth it in the long run. Fallout 4, like most open world games these days, has fast travel. But I think you're making a mistake if you're fast traveling everywhere instead of actually exploring the Commonwealth. Fallout games are best experienced when you explore everything the game has to offer. In fact, that probably goes for most Bethesda games. And not to mention, because you do this, you explore, you'll encounter NPCs on your route who will give you some of the best side quests the game has to offer. If you find yourself just fast travelling from mission to mission without actually spending time to explore the game world, you're missing out on a huge amount of things and you'll never meet these random strangers along the way. If you have, however, played in survival mode, you don't have the option of fast travel anyway, but on any difficulty when fast travel is an option, I would highly recommend not using it, for the most part anyway, because you'll find so much more content by walking around. Like walking to your destination even takes that long, but I guarantee you'll stumble upon something interesting and worthwhile along the way. Now, this mistake may seem like a bit of an obvious one, but guys, don't swim in the water and definitely do not drink unpurified water, even though you can, because obviously it isn't good for you. In fact, you probably want to stay away from water entirely in Fallout because, well, it will do some serious damage to your health because it is obviously highly radiated. Water retains radiation better than almost anything else in Fallout, so it's never a good idea to go for a swim or drink it. No matter what sticky situation you may find yourself in, the radiation trade-off is just not worth it. Speaking of health, sleeping in Fallout 4 is pretty darn important if you want a bit of an XP boost, and getting as much XP early in the game is absolutely essential, and sleeping is probably one of the easiest ways to get that XP boost. If you find yourself at bed and you sleep for a certain amount of time, you'll get the well rested perk, which will give you a temporary XP boost until you get tired again. And in addition to this, if you have a companion that you're romantically involved with, did you know that if you sleep in the same bed as them for a long enough period of time, your well rested bonus will be even greater? In the same vein of XP boost and leveling up, turning in quests will get you a good chunk of XP, as you'd probably expect. And that XP is further boosted if you've created your character to be one intelligent son of a bitch. And the well rested perk I just mentioned will help get you that bonus as well. But if your character isn't intelligent, there is another way to get a boost when turning in quests. And if you have some mentats in your inventory, you pop a few of those just before turning in said quests, and these will boost your intelligence, which in turn means more XP, quicker leveling up, and quicker progression. Simples. One of the biggest mistakes players make with Fallout games, hell, Bethesda games in general to be fair, is focusing on the main story and just rushing through it. One of the best things about Bethesda games are the side quests you get stuck into along the way, and some of the best moments in Fallout 4 can be found during side quests. So guys, take your time, go exploring, interact with a lot of NPCs along your way. You will meet interesting characters, team up with some useful companions, and have an overall better experience. A final small mistake you're probably making is not manually saving your game often enough. Now, we know Fallout 4 has quick save, but we also all know that Bethesda games are like, and there is no telling when the game could possibly just crash out, and you'll lose a bunch of progress since that last quick save. Especially since the last next generation update, which is a bit flaky at the time of recording this. So just keep on top of saving, it takes a few seconds and you'll be all good. If you guys have gotten this far in the video and there are some obvious early game mistakes that I haven't mentioned in this, why don't you guys leave a comment below letting us know what those are. Well, there you have it folks, there are some of the major mistakes you need to avoid making early on when getting stuck into Fallout 4. I hope you found this video useful, and if you're still here, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can now also become a channel member as well, and as always, thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one.